Okay, so the first aspect of putting I'm going to talk to you about today, so you can better use your mat, is the grip. So there are a few different ways to grip the club, but I'm going to give you three options. The first way, which is the most common, is just called a reverse overlap. If you're right-handed, grab the club, left hand on top, right hand below, with all 10 fingers on the grip. Just take your index finger and drape it over the fingers of your right hand. That's a reverse overlap. What you're trying to do here is eliminate some of the wrist movement in the swing and the putting stroke, and having the finger on the side of the fingers helps eliminate some of that. The second grip is a cross-handed, I should say. Instead of going right hand below left, you switch it and go left hand low. You can even do the reverse here with your right index finger over your left fingers. When you do that, it's the same thing. Just try to move your arms and shoulders without much wrist involved, and that's going to help you control the putter face. The third one that you're seeing become more popular is the claw. This one, take your normal putting grip, left hand on top, right hand low, turn your right hand around so the palm faces you, and you're gripping it and holding it in the crease between your thumb and your forefinger. When you do that, just move your right arm back and through in a straight line. That'll help take some of this face rotation out of the stroke, which is going to help you be a little more consistent and help you make more putts. Now that we covered the grip, the next thing we're going to cover is the stance and the stroke. So keeping it very simple, go ahead and take the putter grip that you like the best out of the three that I showed you. Get your stance shoulder width, and you're going to feel like you bend more from your hips than you do your waist. So a little bit of knee flex, bend from your hips until you get to a point where your eyes are over top of the ball. So if I suspended my putter, you can see if I drop it from my left eye, it'll just about be on top of the ball. Now that's important too, because if it's under your left eye, it's going to be slightly forward in your stance, and that's going to help you when we talk about the stroke. You're going to hit up on it slightly. Okay, we've covered grip, we've covered stance and posture. Now for the important part, how to actually stroke the putter and hit the putts. So again, get in your shoulder width stance, the grip that you chose. The thing that I like to see is the elbows slightly bent, not straight arms. If you go too straight, the putter tends to get a little bit wobbly. So you can even take your setup up, standing up with the putter level to the ground, and just get your elbows into your sides a little bit. Not pinching tight, just lightly resting. And something you can do to practice your stroke is move your trunk or your upper body and shoulders back and through without moving your legs. That's a little preview as to what you're going to do down at the ball. So once you've mastered this motion, the putter is moving basically straight back and straight through on a horizontal line. You're going to go ahead and bend from your hips so your eyes are over the ball, your left eye over the ball. Now try to make that same motion, just feeling like you move your rib cage back and through. That's what's going to make the putter move in a consistent line so you can hit the sweet spot. And that's something else that we can talk about. When you putt, make sure you line the ball up directly in the sweet spot, because if you don't, the putter is going to twist on you. So again, elbows into your sides, bend from your hips, slight knee flex, eyes over the ball, move your upper body back and through, keeping yourself low, very still down here. You're going to find yourself making some really consistent strokes and making more putts. Now I'm going to talk to you about a very important element that nobody discusses too much, but it's very important. It's distance control. So the pace that you hit your putts determines really how many putts you're going to make, because if it's too short, obviously it won't go in. If it's too hard, it's going to hit too hard or too fast into the hole and come out of the hole, and we don't want that. So there's a proper make speed, maybe anywhere from 6 inches to 12 inches past the hole. Gives it a chance to get up to the hole, but not go too far where you can't make the next one. So how do we get distance control? Well, let's first talk about how not to do it. What I see a lot of golfers doing is they make the same length stroke for every putt, and they just change how hard they're hitting it. I don't want you to do that. The best putters in the world change the distance of the putt by changing the length of the stroke. So if you can imagine, this is a pendulum, and I'm letting it swing back and through. If I want a longer putt, I'm going to let it swing longer, because it'll provide more energy to the ball. If I want a shorter putt, it's going to swing shorter. So as you're putting, you can practice making the correct length stroke for the putt you're about to hit. So if I was going to putt a short putt, let's say 3 feet, I may take the putter, let's say 3 inches back and through. That's just a rule of thumb. It's not for every green, but it's a nice way for you to get your mind around how long the stroke needs to be. Let's say I'm going to putt a 10-foot putt. I may take the putter back 10 inches and then 10 inches through. That provides more energy. Now, one last caveat to the length of the stroke. You have to have good rhythm. What I mean by that, you want the putter to swing at a tick-tock rhythm. So if in your head you can count tick-tock, tick-tock, always the same rhythm, no matter how long the stroke is, you always want it to fall under that tick-tock rhythm. You'll develop a consistent distance control, always applying the right amount of energy to the ball. You're going to make more putts because they're going to end up closer to the hole, and you're going to 3-putt a lot less, which I think if you can eliminate 3 putts, make a few more of those 10 to 15 footers, your scores are going to go way down. And the last thing I want to cover here is how to practice. So obviously, a lot of you probably bought this mat to help you make more putts when you go to the golf course. So let's talk about that for a minute. There are 2 types of practice I want you to focus on. One is called block practice and one is called random practice. So let's start with the first one, block practice. You're going to set up to, let's say, put the ball here so it's about 6 feet out from the hole. You can maybe put a stick down or an alignment rod just outside the ball to give you a perfect alignment to the hole. So you make sure you're set up square to the target. And then let's say you putt 20 putts at the exact same target from the same spot, trying to see how many putts you can make in a row. What you're trying to do here is get your stroke, maybe kind of groove it a little bit. Get it in the same slot every time, so you're hitting the same spot in the putter, rolling the ball the right distance, and making your fair share of these. Because once you get set up and you know you're aligned correctly, you should be able to make a good amount of these if you putt 20 putts. Now, once you feel like you've reached proficiency at that, let's say you have a goal of 15 out of 20, stop that drill and move to what I call random practice. Random practice, you're going to take one ball and you're going to set up to a different putt in a different hole every time. So let's say I'm going to start on the left side of the mat. I would go through my entire routine. I point the line at the hole. That's how I set up to the putts. I point the line on the ball to the hole. Take my stance, putt it, hopefully make it. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to pick a different length putt to a different hole. The reason I'm doing this, it recreates what you're going to end up with when you get to the golf course. We know on the golf course you don't hit the same putt over and over again. So at some point we need to switch to this type of practice so the putting you do on your mat transfers to the golf course. So again, block practice first. Once you got your stroke grooved, let's go to random practice. If you do that and use the mat in that manner, I know that you're going to become a better putter. You're going to lower your strokes on the golf course where it counts the most.